before the extra practice session on Thursday. The verdict, thumbs up from Michael.
It's a bit like you drive a Formula 1 in the way of a go-kart, because it is very tiny here, very small, but very tricky and very technical, and I enjoyed it very much, the driving here today.
After his win in Brazil, Schumacher's morale is high, and his nimble Benetton Ford was not only fastest on Thursday, but over a second faster than Ayrton Senna. On a track where pole position is every bit as important as Monaco, Schumacher was looking good. Bad news for three-times world champion Ayrton Senna, but overnight the Williams team dramatically improved the setup of his car, and on Friday Ayrton was in scintillating form. With Schumacher's time of 1 minute 10.4 seconds as his target, he rocketed round Tanaka International right on the ragged edge to stop the clock just 0.2 of a second faster than Schumacher. Not much, but enough. It was his 64th pole position, because on Saturday the track conditions were slower. Good news for Frank Williams. In the second Williams on Saturday, Damon Hill showed there's not a lot of grip at Tanaka. With no traction control, it's now all too easy to spin, as he soon found out. But the watching Senna hadn't got anything to feel smug about. He had done exactly the same thing at exactly the same place earlier. In fact, both the Williams looked very nervous, and tyre wear was obviously going to be critical in the race. Martin Brundle's really getting to grips with his McLaren Peugeot, an excellent 6th on the grid, 2 places behind teammate Mika Hakkinen. But Martin's very lucky to be here after his innocent involvement with the dramatic 4-car crash in Brazil, which led to a 3-race ban on Eddie Irvine. It was nothing short of a miracle that none of the 4 drivers, Brundle, Eric Bernard, Irvine or Jos Verstappen in the shattered Benetton, was hurt. But Irvine was very much in the wars subsequently. Despite his protestations, he was adjudged the guilty party. Now make your judgment. Brundle leads, then Bernard, Irvine in the red-top Jordan, Verstappen on the right. Irvine, passing Bernard, forces Verstappen onto the grass. The Benetton slews sideways and all 4 cars collide. Irvine protested that with Brundle slowing because of a broken engine and Bernard having to back off, he had to jink left. But whatever, his initial 1-race ban was tripled by the governing body at a post-race tribunal. For Ferrari in Japan, Nicola Larini substitutes for Jean Alesi, who's still recovering from a nasty crash in testing. David Brabham starts his 2nd Grand Prix in the new Simtek, despite this spectacular spin, and his teammate Roland Ratzenberger, the only Formula 1 driver to have raced at Tanaka, makes his Grand Prix debut. So, as in Brazil, Senna heads Schumacher on the grid in front of Hill and Hakkinen. Row 3, Berger's Ferrari and Brundle's McLaren. Larini, an excellent 7th with Barrichello 8th. Heinz Harald Frentzen, an impressive 11th. And Mark Blundell starts 12th in his Tyrrell Yamaha. And 20th in row 10 is Japan's only Formula 1 podium finisher, Aguri Suzuki, substituting for Irvine in the Jordan. Lotus are still in trouble, with Herbert and Lamy in row 12 ahead of the Simtex. But sadly, neither of the Pacific drivers qualified. And it is go! Yellow flags waving in the background, and straight into the lead goes Schumacher. Olivier Panis has stopped, and a spinner there. That is Senna, and he's rammed by Larini. Ayrton Senna is out of the Pacific Grand Prix, the man who has yet to score points because he failed to finish in Brazil, and he's been rammed by Nicola Larini, substituting for Jean Alesi. My goodness, the drama is starting right at the beginning of the race, and Michael Schumacher leads. Now, are they going to get the cars clear, or are they going to have to stop the race? There is Senna, stationary in his Williams, and it is Mika Hakkinen in 2nd position. So Schumacher leads, Mika Hakkinen is in 2nd place. It looks like Damon Hill 3rd, and Ayrton Senna's World Championship season is starting very, very badly indeed. Failure to finish in Brazil, and failure even to get past the first corner here.
Well, no red flags there, so it looks like the race is on. Now let's look at the replay. There is Panis's car, the Ligier stopped, and Schumacher gets ahead there of Senna. Flying start. Now watch Häkkinen right behind Senna. Touch. Häkkinen definitely touched Senna on the back there. He spun him round. Misjudgment by Häkkinen. He may have misjudged how fast Senna had slowed for that corner, but I'm afraid it was Häkkinen's fault, and that's taken out Senna. He's out of that race. Look again overhead. Look at Schumacher on your left, gets ahead of Senna. Now look at Häkkinen behind Senna, number 3. Touch, just there, pushes the back of Senna round, and then here comes Larini, nowhere to go but into the side of Senna. That is massive disappointment for Senna. He's had things a little bit harder than he wanted anyway, and Frank Williams not looking happy, understandably, at all.
Indeed, so it's all down to Damon Hill now for the Williams team, and of course this is giving Michael Schumacher a tremendous advantage because he's starting to build a lead already. Mika Häkkinen in the McLaren Peugeot is an unknown quantity because both Häkkinen and Brundle had engine problems in Brazil. But on lap 1, there is race leader Michael Schumacher, the winner in Brazil, followed by Mika Häkkinen in second position. In third place, it's Damon Hill, and Ayrton Senna walks in. Well, Senna's had a lot of experience and a lot of disappointments. That was his 160th start.
Yes, that's just the kind of thing that Schumacher can now benefit from. It's a great shame, it really is, that we're not going to see Senna out there, because Senna in the Williams and Schumacher in the Benetton, they've been arch rivals. Schumacher got the upper hand, of course, in Brazil, but here at the TI circuit, we were going to be in for another very, very good battle between these two. But it's still not going to be all Schumacher's way, that's for sure. Schumacher's been going very well indeed, but the big question here is about the pit stops, as always. The TI circuit is a high downforce circuit, and it's very hard on tyres, and the question is, will they need to make probably 2 stops or possibly even 3?
And off goes Damon Hill. My goodness, this is not Williams' race. Now, Damon Hill went off in practice yesterday, and so did Ayrton Senna, because they had a handling problem which they were totally mystified about. I remind you that the active suspension which Williams perfected over the last couple of seasons is no longer allowed. All the cars are using what is called passive suspension with no fancy electronics. It's making the cars much more difficult to handle, much less predictable, and in concert with the low grip circuit here at Tanaka, we can expect to see a lot of cars going off, as Damon Hill very nearly did. So he's gone down the pecking order to 9th position. Up into 3rd place has come Gerhard Berger. In 4th position as Senna walks in, it is Rubens Barrichello. And Damon Hill now starting to close. He's going to take Verstappen. Damon Hill trying to get through and take Jos Verstappen, who is number 6, and he is in 9th position. So it's Hill, who had a bad start, passed by Häkkinen, who then proceeded to touch and push off the course inadvertently Ayrton Senna. Out of the race goes the Brazilian. Now we're on lap 6, coming up to 1/10 distance already in this Tanaka, at this Tanaka International Raceway circuit, which has been tremendously successful in practice.
Yes, clearly things not having gone Williams' way at all. Senna out. Hill was about to challenge Häkkinen for 3rd place, but a spin from him back in 9th, working his way up the field now. And let's hope we can see a really strong comeback drive there from Damon Hill. Clearly the car not being as easy to drive as either driver would like, with both Hill and Häkkinen spinning at the revolver corner, quite prophetically named as it would seem to be. We can see too that not only are the cars harder to drive this year, but also that without this traction control there is far more potential for error. And one has to say again that had the Williams, now here we have Hill trying the same place now into the hairpin, and this time he's surely done it, and indeed he has, into that 2nd gear hairpin, very tight. Now this next corner is where Hill spun in qualifying, just about now. Both little twitch even then. The track falls away then, and so the grip tends to be lost on the exit rather than gained as one normally does. It's going to be important for Hill to use that Renault horsepower he's got. He's probably got about a 3 or 4 mile-an-hour straight-line speed advantage from his Renault horsepower, even over the Ford engine in that, here we go again. That's that kind of difference that 3 or 4 miles an hour can make. Very hard on the brakes, pulling probably 4 or 5 G on the brakes even without ABS and power brakes, which of course are banned this year.
And it's still Schumacher leading. In second position, it is still Mika Hakkinen, chased by Gerhard Berger third. Then there's a terrific scrap from fourth all the way down to Damon Hill, who is now up into 8th position. Fourth is Barrichello. There is Damon Hill going through and taking Heinz-Harald Frentzen. So Hill is up into 7th place. Damon flying through the field to make up the aberration when he nearly went off. Now his next target is Christian Fittipaldi. And Christian Fittipaldi in the yellow helmet, in the blue and white footwork car with its Ford engine, is very distinctive. He is in 6th position.
It looks like we've got a pit stop on the way.
Are we going to get a pit stop already? That's the